Just tell me right now, what are you guys thinking?
I'm still kind of processing. Can you imagine your pastor doing that on stage?
What is up, you guys? How you doing? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Hannah.
In today's video, Christians react, we're the Christians, to a church calling itself a strip club to stay open. This is quite the story. Hannah, we are so pumped that you're here to bring the fire like you do every time.
Thank you. I am honored to be here.
But first, before we get into any of that, everyone, hold up, wait a minute, put a little love in it, click that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on. We make videos on culture and social issues from a Christian perspective to help you have hope.
And be free. Make sure you subscribe to Hannah's channel. She's one of the boldest Christian YouTubers that we know. All right, guys. We're jumping in. One of the reasons I'm glad that you guys chose this topic once I suggested it is because it is slightly controversial. Okay, I feel like there could be multiple layers of controversy here. Oh, there's a church staying open in the midst of a pandemic? That could be controversial.
Controversial.
I think the thing we want to focus most on here is they are calling themselves a strip club. Granted, they're calling themselves, I think it is, Awaken family-friendly strip club. In San Diego, California. And they start out their sermon, and I'll show you a clip here in a minute, where they're doing a little bit of a strip tease. Granted, I'll let you guys, I'll show you what I mean, but that's a little bit
controversial. And
so I want to talk about it. I want to, is that too far or is it genius?
Well, first we need to clarify, because the reason the church is decided that this is what they're going to do is because Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has decided that strip clubs are essential businesses and can stay open, but churches must lock down. So,
I don't
know about you, but that's insane.
That's what this stemmed from.
In my opinion, insane.
I would be curious to know what exactly they have to do in order to consider themselves a strip club, because
yeah,
honestly, if they have to do too much, you know what I'm saying, then that's
sure.
Okay, it's better to just not do that at all.
This could be offensive to some.
I think the main thing was you have to be stripping off your clothes for a certain amount of time, like a minute or something like that.
I will genuinely be interested to hear what you guys think and to hear what you guys think in the comment section.
Let's watch the video.
Okay.
I know nothing about this. He just introduced this to me a little bit ago, and
You're getting
that's interesting.
Pretty organic reaction from Hannah. And you haven't seen the video either.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'm the only one. I'm the only one who's seen it. I'm gonna play the video, but first I'm gonna read an article by My Christian Daily. Says, San Diego church fed up with unfair restrictions on churches while strip clubs are allowed to open to the public has taken a dig at the city's authorities. Before the start of Sunday's preach, the speakers at Awaken Church did a strip where they removed their jackets, ties, and belts, mocking the fact that churches have such strict guidelines. In quotes, strip clubs, not churches, are exempt from the COVID lockdowns and are deemed essential by our governor, Senior Pastor Jurgen Mathesius stated on Instagram. So we decided we are now Awaken family-friendly strip club, where we strip the devil of his hold, power, and authority over people's lives. Let's go! Let's go! Enjoy the intro to the preach today. And then this is the video he posted on his Instagram.
Go, Samuel. Go, Pastor. Go.
All right. Just tell me right now, what are you guys thinking? What is that? What is that? What is it? Hit me.
I was incredibly uncomfortable.
Morgan was uncomfortable.
Oh, my cheeks. I feel like I'm blushing.
Let me say this as you guys are formulating your opinion.
What did I just watch?
That was uncomfortable in my opinion as well, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, I want to keep that in mind, but it was still incredibly uncomfortable.
Hannah, what do you think?
I'm still kind of processing. Okay, so I guess, they want to keep their church open. Gavin Newsom is being a lot overboard. I don't know, to me it still looks a little too much like
the world?
They're still they didn't have to do it, if it was me, I would just be okay, and like just kind of take off your jacket.
They were having some fun with it.
But they were like really like
literally like burlesque type music, like blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
yeah, and I was like, okay, like at least play some like family friendly music, and then like just take your jacket off. You don't have to do like the slow like or like the belt or
he
like.
like turned around to where you like only saw his back, and he was like taking off.
So you guys are giving it a sideways thumbs?
I'm giving it. You shouldn't do that in church, but I mean you shouldn't do that at all. I don't know. I just don't know what to think. I guess.
And like people were like clapping and whistling and stuff.
Yeah, so I think
Listen,
that's what made it even worse. Like, if it was, can you imagine your pastor doing that on stage, just with that music and the people whistling and like you throwing your belt out into the audience?
It was a little uncomfortable. The belt, I wish that the belt hadn't had to come
Did
off.
they take the belt off? I didn't even see it.
Yes, belt was a little uncomfortable for me, but personally, and I want to read a little bit more what this article says and get some quotes from the pastor. I, for one, am feeling okay about what I just saw, based off of the fact that they are like, okay, in this crazy time when the governor of California, and just think about this, you guys, just let this tickle your earlobes. The governor of California has said strip clubs are going to remain open during these lockdowns that I'm putting into place. Go to strip clubs if you want to, but churches, I am forcing you to close your doors.
You can't sing, you can't have worship, you can't have communion, you can't hold hands to pray, like...
But you can
it's
go
just
to
totally
strip
done.
clubs.
You can't have church at all. But yeah, you can go watch a woman get naked.
That's enough for me to be like, okay, desperate times call for desperate measures. The Bible says, and let me know if you know the passage, I don't know off the top of my head, but do not forsake the meeting of the brethren.
Hebrews 10:25.
Wow.
Do not forsake the meeting of the brethren, even more as the day approaches. Kind of like, even more as the times get more intense. Do not forsake the meeting of the body of Christ. And that's good enough for me to say, I'm going to stand on this and I'm going to keep holding church service. I'm not saying every church has to do that, but I'm in support of this church doing that and any church that's doing that.
Yeah, no, yes, no.
Whoa, Hannah's coming with the contradictory.
Okay, so I don't want to condemn that church. Like, I do not want to be condemning towards them or like just be like, you know what? I'm still gonna be loving towards them, you know, they're still brothers and sisters in Christ, I hope, and they're still living for the Lord wholeheartedly, I hope. But I guess my thought would be too, like, we're supposed to refrain from the appearance of evil, and like even copying at all, especially on stage at church, like the same kind of idea and concept is a little strange to me, and I hope that nobody in the audience is having like bad thoughts as they're watching that, especially if they did go to strip clubs in their past.
Okay.
Right.
So I say like if they're gonna do that just so they can stay open, so technically they're legal to the government, like at least don't have that type of music and just do it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
Like
don't try to be like, don't even joke.
don't try to be like
about
sexy.
it. Yeah. Just be like, hey guys, because we have to do this to count as a strip club, I've got to take my jacket off.
And like, yeah, talk through it or something.
My tie and now my shoes.
Yeah.
And like,
And just do it
then
slowly.
be done with
It
it.
doesn't have to be like for a minute or something.
30 seconds,
30
I think,
seconds?
is what I saw.
Okay, so just do it slowly. Just take off your shoes slowly and your jacket slowly.
I recognize that's a fair point, Hannah, and you're not totally loving what you just saw.
It was just uncomfortable.
I still, at this point, and I want to read a little more on what we just witnessed.
Okay, so maybe it's because like we're girls and they're guys, and like if it was two girls, it might be different for Paul.
That's a good
true.
point, because I was literally just about to say I still am okay with what I just saw personally, but I respect your all's opinions. But now I'm thinking, like,
That's
if that had been
true.
two girls, like what's something a girl equivalent to, like,
Take off their jacket. They take off
Their hair tie.
that would
yeah, they take off their hair.
that would have probably hit me a little bit of a different way and made me more uncomfortable. So I dig that, but let's keep going real quick. The article goes on to say, in early August, the megachurch responded after receiving a cease and desist order on indoor services from the San Diego County. And in quotations again, there is a desperate need for the church with the brokenness within our community, Senior Pastor Jurgen Matthesius stated at the time. We have buried 3 people in the last 5 weeks who didn't die of COVID, but because of it, the overbearing restrictions around COVID. There is no data that shows COVID signs linked to church services. What we don't do is compromise our First Amendment right that says Congress shall make no law prohibiting churches from operating. said Pastor Leanne, it's his wife, I believe. We are doing as much as we can to be compliant, but there are some things that we will not compromise. And they go on to say a little bit more of like, the media is not showing that we actually are taking steps to really protect our congregation and safety measures and so forth. Let's chat a little more about what we just read.
I think we need to focus just that much more again on the verse of Hebrews 10:25 that we do not forsake the meeting of the brethren. Yet here we are, the majority of churches closed down and not really pushing back. And I get it, like this is a tricky thing. But again, like the verse says, like all the more we should be meeting because the time is growing closer. Like, I don't know when Jesus is coming. Maybe he'll come tomorrow. Maybe it'll be 1,000 years from now. But even so, the day's growing closer.
Well, I don't know a time, at least in my lifetime, a year that I can think of, maybe 9/11, but a year that I can think of where more people are struggling and in low places and in need of the church.
This is the time that the church has got to rise up and be there for the people that need them so desperately. I applaud this church for pushing back. Was I uncomfortable by the stripping video? Yes. But do I understand why they, did that? One, they were probably just having fun with it because they're kind of just sick of all of these restrictions that Gavin Newsom is putting on them, and I get that.
Yeah, and I agree with that to a point. Like, and I think the disciples, like, they met so often and broke bread together, and that was one big part. Like, when you read through the book of Acts and stuff and through the early church, we need that community. And I think that they could have done it in a different way. Like, honestly, I would be very uncomfortable if I was going to that church and they were doing that. I don't really see anywhere in the Bible where, like, the disciples did something to look like the world, to like, to do something to further the kingdom. Maybe you can think of something that I can't right now, but in my belief, we're supposed to refrain from the appearance of evil. So maybe do that, but like we were talking about, do it in a different way. I just think too, like people who have had struggles with going to strip clubs in the past or something, like what are they thinking? Like it's making them remember back to that time or something.
What do you guys think about this? Because I think we're similar pages. We might be slightly seeing things differently. I'm curious, based off of the Instagram video you just saw, do you feel like Hannah's overreacting a little bit and it was very just harmless? Or do you think, no, that actually was a little too far?
I think we're all for like the churches staying open, and I think they should push back, but
It's not going that far.
Yeah, it's not going that far.
And
but Paul might think differently.
And guys, real quick, before I want to hit on another thing, we realized that COVID, it's taken many lives, especially those with pre-existing conditions, elderly. It is a real thing.
Yeah, it's real for sure.
So if you are older with pre-existing conditions, it may be wise for you not to attend church for a while. And hopefully the church can find ways to minister to you. But again, these governmental, heavy-handed churches, you are not allowed to meet indoors. And putting all these restrictions on you, I don't believe that that is right. Any final thoughts on Awaken family-friendly strip club?
Change your name. Change the way that you do.
Well, I don't care about your name.
I get it to a point because we actually attended a church one time. It's called First Heavy Metal Church of Christ. And it was like a biker church. Like, it was biker church. Like, all these bikers would pull up, tatted up. They got the bandanas and, like, the leather jackets, wearing them in church. And it was actually really good. Like, the preacher was preaching truth. They actually go to festivals, and they pull up, like, their van or whatever, their big RV, whatever it is. And, like, you know how people do food trucks? I guess it's a food truck. I don't know. But on the side, it says free weed because they pull up to these festivals.
Whoa.
And so when they come up to get the free weed, I guess they give them, like, a piece of like a weed from the grass or something.
Like an actual weed?
Like, that's like a bookmark, and they give them a Bible.
Oh,
so and they invite them to church that way. They also give them a business card type thing.
That might be offensive to some. Like, oh my goodness, why would they joke around about free weed?
That would be the appearance of evil.
That would be the
so
appearance
it
of
is.
evil.
It's kind of a gray area, but what does the Bible say? When Jesus is sending out his disciples, be as cunning as serpents, but as innocent as doves.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, walk with shrewdness and, in a sense, be kind of wise to the ways of the world. And that's kind of what he's saying there. Be kind of wise in the way that you walk without compromising your innocence, without compromising, because the book of James says, don't allow yourself to be polluted by the world. It's finding that line of purity while also being wise to how to reach people. And sometimes it can look a little bit iffy.
Weird. Honestly, this is the year of weird, so.
Year of weird. I mean, can we all agree it's the year of weird?
It's the year of weird. I'm still staying like here with my answer.
Okay, where are we? Final thumb assessment to Awaken
not in the
Strip.
middle, but
I'm like,
Awaken Family Friendly Strip Church.
I'm like, wait, if this is the middle, then I'm like,
oh, she's going down.
You're at like a, let's see, 50%. So you're
A
at
little-
like a
little less-
40%.
yeah.
I'm at like a 70%.
Yeah, I'm at like a 75.
I'm at like a 85 or 90%.
Alright guys, comment below and let us know what you thought of this whole situation with the church. What are your thoughts? How do you feel? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Comment specifically, did you think their little family-friendly strip tease was too far, or was it just right? I want to see what most of you guys are saying about that.
And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed having Hannah Banana.
Hannah, we are genuinely, truly blessed to have you on. We think very highly of you. Put her there, pal.
My hand is really sweaty right now. I'm like,
We love you guys. Go check out Hannah Banana's channel.
We will link
Hannah
it below.
Williamson.
And there's a chance that we will have a video dropping.
on my channel.
All right, guys, you all have a wonderful rest of your day. We will catch you again very soon. Have hope.
And
Be free. I've been holding my hands like this like the whole time. The hands are like sweating profusely.